Hello, this is just a quick video to show you how quick and easy using IC in conjunction with Petrel really can be. So I have my Petrel project open in the background here, and you can see I've got a selection of wells that are visible on the screen here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of correlating my wells within Petrel, I'm actually going to send them to IC and show you how quickly that can be done there. So what I've got is I've got a blank IC database right here, and I'm just going to use the Petrel data link within IC. So if I hit Petrel there, that'll then connect directly to the database. So over here on the left I have my list of my wells that are available within that project, and I'm just going to tick both of them because I want to show you a few features within IC as well. So we've got all our wells ticked on there, and if we start scrolling across these tabs we can go through the importing process. So if we go to well matching, what I want to do is create all of my wells. I want to create all 26 wells within IC. So that's just taking a couple of seconds there. It's going through each well, and each well is then created on the left hand side here. So the next thing I want to do is go to my resources tab. I'm just going to import my fault sticks and surfaces here. So I'm going to come to my fault sticks and just tick that on fully. And then the same with my surfaces here. The reason they were previously ticked is that I practiced this earlier, so it remembered my previous selection, but it's important to make sure that all the surfaces below have also been saved. So if I then come here and press import like that, it just runs through and starts importing each surface. As you can see here, it runs through each name. Very quick and easy, that's all done. So I also want to make sure that I have all my well path data. So I'm going to select all of them, just double check, yep, that's perfect. And now onto my picks and intervals. So I can import a number of different picks. So if I had like 3 or 4 different tops, I could import them all into IC. But for the sake of quickness, I'm just going to import one today. So I'm going to just use this tops, which I've matched to my IC pick tops. So it's well tops, dip and ASI is now matched to tops. So I'm happy to load that. What I could do as well is, if there was linked to a dictionary, I could add that information in there. With regards to logs on the next tab, all I need to do is select which logs I want to transfer over from Petrel, and I've either got the option to match them to an existing log, or I can create that particular log. So for what we're doing here, I'm actually going to match this one up. So I scroll down and select gamma. I've matched that, and I've selected that I wanted to load it as well. So if I'm happy with all that, I've got the option to either push that data from Petrel to IC or push from IC into Petrel. So what we're going to do is just do that. And you can see that processing. So you've got the process window here, and you've also got a log. So if anything doesn't come through, or if there's a problem, that'll be logged there. So quick and easy, you can see in a couple of seconds that's now completed. And just close that window. So you can see all my wells here on the left hand side, and I can click on these and expand and go directly to the data if I want to. What I can also do is use the product summaries to view my data. So I can go directly to that data within a few clicks. When starting a new project, something important to do at the beginning is actually to set up your project properties. Because I want to actually use a map to do my correlation, I need to make sure that I've set both the geographic and the grid system, like so. If when I'm doing my maps I want to filter my data, I can also do that, but I need something to filter through. So for today I'm going to come to my wells, and I'm actually going to edit all of my well headers at once. So I want to choose my geographic here, and I'm going to edit my field. So I'm going to give these 2 groups of wells different fields so that they can be filtered and identified. So I'm going to use the search and replace function, and I'm going to search for field, I'm going to replace that with just a made up field name, and you can see that's just named those empty spaces that I've selected there. I'm going to do the same with these ones, so I'm going to call that Fred. It's quick and easy to edit your headers in that way. So if we come out of there and then open a map, like so, there's a couple of different ways of selecting your wells. So I could drag and drop my well onto a map like so, or I can use our map toolbox on the left here. So I can select all of my wells and apply. I could then fit my wells and resources there, like so. Or what I can do is actually select by well query. So that's why the filtering process that we looked at earlier really comes in handy. So I'm just going to create a new filter, and I'm going to call this one Fred because that's the wells we're going to look for. So I'm going to come to my field and select Fred and add that as a query. So if I'm happy with that, I'm going to select it and then apply it to my wells like so. So you can see within a couple of seconds I've managed to create my map using the wells. So these are the same wells and the same information as you can see within Petrel. But if I could do all that in Petrel, why would I want to use IC? Well, the next couple of steps are why you'd want to use IC for it. So what I could do is I could view my surfaces and my faults on my map like so. So these are the external grid files that I brought across from Petrel. So just drag and drop function, and I could also put on a couple of faults like so just by dragging and dropping, or select all of them at once. I could then even view them in 3D like this. But what I want to do is I'm just going to select these and turn them off. I don't need these for the moment. Is I'm going to create a grid using IC. So all I need to do is just click anywhere on the map and build a surface. And let's keep this for tops data. So I'm going to use the top of the nest, and I'm going to use my data values to display my data. So quick and easy, I've now got a surface grid for my map. I can then give this a bit of colour, quite like that pink shade we had in the Petrel version. So if we apply like that, so I could even use polygons or polylines to actually limit the extent of that grid as well. So again, that's only within a couple of minutes we've done that. From that grid, I could then start to see maybe some of the wells that I might want to be looking at. But I don't know whether they contain any data. So what I could do is individually hover over each well and go to that well data and then have a look at it. Or what I could do is actually create a query to have a look for my data. So if I just go to queries, I'm actually going to search for the gamma ray that we imported. So I'm just going to select that there. And I want to see whether it has data logged. And let's give this highlight a little bit of colour actually. So let's give it a light blue diamond. And there we go. We've now got that there. You can see it over here. So if I pop this onto here, you can see all of these wells actually contain gamma ray data. So I can see that the well B1 doesn't, but the rest of the wells do, which gives me a little bit of an idea of where I want to actually run my correlation. So to do my correlation interactively on my map, all I need to do is again right click, and I've got the option to build my correlation. So I can manually select my wells like so, and then just using predefined templates, I can actually start to build that. So I built a template earlier to use, so we'll use this one and build that chart. So what I could do at the same stage is I could actually tie my data, but I want to show you how quickly we can do that. So within a couple of minutes I've built a correlation chart using a template from the data that's been brought over from Petrel. If I want to tie my data, all I need to do is go to the ties manager, select my wells, choose which data I want to tie, so tops, and I could tie my data. So I can see at the moment all that's going to do is do black ties like so. So you can see. But what I might want to do is use our dictionaries function to add a little bit of colour to those ties. So I'm going to untie all of those wells and I'm going to come up to our dictionaries. So I'm going to create a text dictionary for our tops data, and I'm going to assign that to the tops data that we have. And at the moment this is a blank and empty dictionary. I'm going to build that using the data. So again, using the data selector, I'm then going to load that from the source, and there I've got my data, but I'm going to give this a bit of colour. So let's give that a gradient like so. If I'm happy with that, I can then close that. So I'm just going to refresh my chart. Okay, so if I go back to this ties process again, you can see that all these ties are now they now have a colour which is associated with the dictionary which we've just created. So now when I select my wells and I tie my wells, each tie now has a colour which goes all the way through my chart. So what I'm now going to do is zoom in and have a look at my data. I'm not too happy with where they suggest the nest 1 comes in here, so I'm going to click on my track here and I'm going to edit my data. So I'm just going to pull that down to there. So you can see at the moment the tie is continuing. That's because the ties are based from committed data. At the moment this is just saved to the cache. So I can do a few little changes like so, and that's not permanent. They can be moved back just by going to here and just restoring that data points that you've changed. But if I want to commit those, I could commit those, and then that data, once refreshed, would then be fit to send back to Petrel. Just to recap, you can just do quick import, quick visualization of your data, you can build maps, you can interrogate your data, and you can correlate your data all within a few minutes. Thank you for your time.